Hey, good morning. This is Rich from Tennessee Homestead. How are you today? Got out looking at chickens, out doing what chickens usually do. Uh, thin the bug population out there a little bit. Uh, Today I want to talk to you about something a little on the serious line, uh, and that is safety on your homestead or your farm for your children. We have, I had a subscriber suggest this, and I went out and looked at some of the statistics, and yeah, it might be a very good idea to talk about it. One of the things that kind of shocked me, I'd looked at several different reporting agencies that was covering the safety aspects of a farm, and kind of went with the middle of the road that was, I figured that'd be a good conservative estimate. But basically, what I discovered was, now these, keep in mind that the statistics are covering children not working on the farm per se, teenagers running tractors and things of this nature, but just children growing up on a farm. That 27,000 of these kids either end up with serious injuries or fatalities. 27,000, and that's per year, folks. That's a lot of kids. So yeah, I thought I'd share a little bit about it, kind of the top 5 of what's liable to kill a child on a homestead. And let me start off with number 1, because a lot of parents think that it's okay. The number 1 killer of children on a homestead and a farm is the recreational vehicle called an ATV. Number 1. More children die on those things, or seriously injured or disabled due to ATVs. And it boils down to one thing. Kids are going to be kids, and once they get out of eyeshot of mom and dad, they get a little crazy, and they check common sense in the wind, and of course children look at themselves as being invincible, and nothing's going to happen to me, and here they go. And in fact, it is the number 1 killer on a homestead or a farm, something that the parent has absolute control over. You control the keys and the access to that ATV. Please. I know it sounds, or some kids would have a real problem with it, but, make sure that those children are operating those ATVs. There's adult supervision where you can see what they're doing, and let them know if you start acting foolishly on the thing, we're probably not going to let you run it and operate it anymore. It's a serious one. Okay, coming in at the number 2 slot is tractors. Now, we're not talking about children operating tractors and rolling one over or something of that nature. We are talking about primarily parents giving rides to children on tractors out there doing work in the fields and so forth, or even just giving them a ride around the pasture, things of this nature. What ends up happening way too many times is, you have a groundhog that dug a big hole, or a little washout area that you're not familiar with, haven't ran into yet, or just recently occurred during the last rainstorm. And you can hit that, it's going to bounce that tractor very hard, and when taking you by surprise, you lose grip on that child, and suddenly you find that child just slipped off your lap. They get ran over by the tractor, they get ran over by farm implements being pulled by the tractor, and trust me, you can take a look at that video I got out there, the smartphone versus the bush hog, and you can quickly understand I had both hands free, and I could not stop that tractor, nor could I get that attachment lifted fast enough as I felt that phone coming out of my pocket, knew what was happening. As I felt that phone coming up out of my pocket, I could not stop in time or get that implement lifted in time to keep from, destroying that phone. It made me realize something when a subscriber brought this up. What if that was my grandchild that I just dropped off my lap? And believe me, the rut I hit, a kid would have come flying off my lap no matter how hard I was trying to hang on to it. Because I was everything I could do for me to stay on the tractor. So, please keep these things in mind. If your tractor is not equipped with a jump seat for a second rider, make sure one's installed. And don't, if you don't have that safety seat on that tractor for another rider, don't do it, folks. I'm telling you, just don't do it. Okay, so, it is what it is. I remember as a kid, with my grandpa, I was always wanting to ride on the tractor with him, and he kept telling me the same thing. My tractor's not built for riders. So, I kind of ran with that. And that old fellow went out in his barn and spent 2 weeks or better, I think, putting together and welding to his tractor a safety seat. Came equipped with right down to a 2-inch leather belt that he could use to strap his grandson in. And a grab bar. It was really nice setup. He really, put a lot of time into it. Anyway, he managed to be able to take his grandson out into the fields safely by doing that. So do what you got to do it safely. Stuff happens. You do not want to have to be looking in the mirror for the rest of your life going, if I'd only. That'd be a tough way to live. Okay, let's move on past that to implements. And, of course, the old standard one is, implements. Let's get by dropping a child off a tractor under an implement, because I don't even really want to talk about that. That's just more grotesque than you want to think. But let's talk about, you have implements parked in your barn or in a shed. It's covered, and kids playing on them. Causes a lot of serious injuries. If you got a hayloft in your barn, if the potential is there for them to fall out of that hayloft down onto a piece of equipment, you want to correct that. Folks, you're going to be the one responsible for the safety of those children. So, it's up to you. And if you can't secure your barn to where it's a safe place for children to be, lock it up and let them know, don't let me catch you in there. Don't be fooling around in the barns. You have to look out for it. It's implements, injuries on implements is the number 3 reason for children's serious injuries and even death on a homestead or a farm. Then you move into number 4, which is drowning from creeks and ponds. Well, I'm not really going to dwell into that too much. Common sense. You don't let your kids get in the creeks or the ponds unless a parent or somebody, an adult, is present to supervise. That's just good common sense. And if you're doing that, hopefully God keeps his hand on your children. Use your head. Things can happen. So, moving on past that, then we'll get into so you've got number 1, ATVs, number 2 is tractors, number 3 is tractor implements, number 4 is ponds and creeks, then we get into number 5. And this one, folks, is just so preventable. And I see out there videos being posted and things of this nature, and I'm looking at what a person's doing, and I'm thinking, oh, my Lord, you don't even understand how much danger you're in right now. And that's large animals. Mules and jacks and jennies and cows and things of this nature, large, powerful animals. Horses. These things can end a child's life in a second, and not intentionally. You know, a cow comes back and shows attention a lot of times if they just adore you and are very loving animals, to lean against you. You better have the strength to push that animal off you, especially if you're between a wall or something like this. And sometimes for a grown man, it takes some pushing and shoving to get a 1,200-pound animal off of you. Don't do it, folks. Keep your kids away from those animals, unless you're in a safe area that you know is good. Yeah, I can't stress enough, I've seen it, and I'm sure you folks have seen it too out there. Let me explain something to you. A small stall and a large animal is a bad idea if you're inside it with it. Because they're going to turn, they're going to make sudden moves, they're going to do things that they're going to take you totally by surprise. And in a small stall, when you can't get away from that action, congratulations, you know, you've got yourself hurt or possibly killed. Same thing with your children. So please, please be careful with that. I see people milking cows in small stalls where they got a wall against their back and a cow against their front. That is just one stumble or one lean away from tragedy. Reaching across an animal when it's eating. Okay, you may startle it a little bit, and suddenly you have a very powerful animal swinging a very hard, large head right up at your face. Not a good idea. It makes things a little tough. Imagine that as a child. You know, it could literally kill your child, that kind of an impact. So use your head. If you're not familiar with large animals, go slow. You know, put them out in the pasture. And spend a lot of time learning about them and learning their body language and things of this nature. A little story we had going on down here last spring, was we had some friends come in from out of town. They had a little 7-year-old daughter, just cute as a button, and she wanted to see the new calves. We had some newborn calves out there. So I told my friend, I said, tell you what, I said, let me run the mother and that big steer over there out of the pasture, and then we can let your daughter come in and we'll take her up and let her see the calves. So I'm running a 1,400-pound cow and probably about 1,000-pound steer. And by the way, steers are very protective over calves in the herd. It's kind of the bull instinct in them. So anyway, I'm taking these animals back. Well, after I'd gotten just a little bit away from those calves with those two cows, my friend let his daughter into the pasture, figuring that it was safe for, his daughter now to go out and look at the cows, even though I had told him, let me get them into another pasture and the gate closed. So here she comes running across the field, giggling and squealing, as a little girl will do. And these two cows stop, turn around. I see the mother go into a posture of she's putting out her warning to that whatever it is coming across the field. She's shaking that head no, like you're about to enter into no man's land here. And same thing with the steer, except for he just started moving out to circle around me because we have a close enough bond with the animal where they respect me and they count me as part of their little herd. But the fact of the matter is that this animal was going after to protect them calves. So I hollered at the little girl as loud as I could, run to your daddy now. And luckily, that little girl listened and took off running for all she was worth back to her dad. And so when the cows saw that she had broke off and ran, I got them back under control. But in the meantime, folks, I'm standing in between two angry cows trying to keep them contained. And trust me, as much as we have a relationship, they'd go over the top of me to go protect those calves. That child would have kept coming. They'd have charged me and that little girl. Man, let me tell you, when I got back to that fence, I chewed my friend out. I just told him, Mike, what are you trying to do? kill me and your daughter? What are you doing? What are you thinking? And he said, I didn't know. I just didn't know. And then it hit me. He didn't know. He'd never been really exposed to large animals like that before in his life. But yeah, he could have got us all killed. So what I'm trying to say is, folks, is there's people out around you that if you bought a parcel of land and are putting large animals on it, they can help you with these things. They can show you what the body language is and how to control your larger animals safely. Go seek out that advice, okay? Don't put you and your children in risk. Large animals, it takes some learning, folks. It really does. To know, what to do, what not to do, and how to handle situations with them. So that's number 5, and what could possibly kill your children on Homestead is that big, gentle milk cow that you bought that seems to be such a loving little creature. They may love you right to death. Literally love you to death. So please don't walk away with this with a little I'm not trying to, scold anybody. I'm just trying to say, you use your head, look at safety first, and understand that it can go from your dream come true of owning a homestead to your absolute worst nightmare just in the twinkle of an eye if you don't pay attention and follow some basic safety rules. So please take care of your kids. Kind of take some, just take some of this to heart and understand that it can be a very dangerous place, a farm. It is what it is. So if you treat it accordingly, and especially watch out for the safety of your children, you can have a good life. It's a very good life. But you're going to use your head, and you're going to have to put safety first. Failing to do so can turn it into a tragedy, and nobody wants that. So there we go. Like I said, I'm kind of glad that he had mentioned it, and I'm probably going to misquote him on this, but his father and grandfather had a saying, and when he put it down there, it made a lot of sense. But things like tractors and equipment and large animals, they have no conscience. They have no remorse. Okay? They will kill you unintentionally. Tractors and implements, they're inanimate objects, but they're extremely dangerous ones. Please take some of this to heart and just look out for your children's safety. So when you're looking around at your place of things needing to be done, put safety first and say, well, do I need to put handrails up on that loft? Do I need to move that equipment in such an area that kids can't access it? Do I need to put some barn doors up and throw some padlocks on it and just keep them out there? Things to think about, folks. Okay, this is Rich from Tennessee Homestead. Sorry for the downer video, but I thought it was something that needed to be said. Because like I said, I've seen the videos out there that people are doing these things. You need to be careful. Y'all have a great day.